Hey YouTube, welcome to the Off-Grid Mountain Homestead. This is a part 2 video, follow-up on the lettuce video. Had some questions and stuff about, keeping the lettuce going or getting it through the winter. I was going to tell you about some options or show you some options. This is a little 2x6 bed that I built out of 2x8s. So the bed's 2 foot wide, 6 foot long, 8-inch timbers with half native soil, half mushroom compost. All right, you can make a little bed like this so you can cover it up with a cold frame. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But other options, if you don't have a greenhouse, you can take a terracotta container or similar container. If you have a south-facing window, you can grow lettuce indoors. Just put your potting mix in here. And some of your potting mixes may not even need additional nutrients just to grow 4 or 5 little heads of lettuce in here in the south-facing window sill. Or you can put these, bring them in and out if the weather's getting cold and gonna get frosting or below freezing. Bring the little containers in. This is a little 1.5 gallon terracotta. You can use something like this. You can use a plastic one, a decorative one, what have you. But just make sure, don't use them like this. Don't use them without the drain hole. Make sure that you have a drain hole in the bottom because lettuce does not like its roots saturated. It will rot them out. So you can get you a little catch basin, a little terracotta. You can grow it in a windowsill. So that's one option, and I will show you another option. Another option is to make a cold frame cover for your raised bed or your little lettuce bed, what have you. This is just some clear plastic, all some scrap wood that I had, and the key to it is to, do it cheap or free. That's just scrap wood. Built a little box cover frame to go over this bed. I use this same cover. This has been sitting outside all spring and summer. Used this back in February, March, first part of April. We had some nights get down into the 20s late into the season in March. 25 one night. The lettuce survived. So this little cold frame cover, just cheap, easy, just clear plastic, and I run a layer of duct tape around the sides and then put some screws in. Use the duct tape as the stiffener for the plastic. So, you can see the moisture. This has only been on here for 2 or 3 minutes, and you can see the moisture already building up. So what you have to worry about with a cold frame cover like this in the wintertime, this will probably take you, if you got enough thermal mass in your bed, the dirt and soil is going to stay warm on a southern slope. So you'll have a lot of thermal mass in there. So this could take you down. I've seen it at 25 and the lettuce has survived. We could probably go a little colder. I don't know the exact temp that it will survive to, but 25 is for certain. The spring crop will let us survive that. But the only thing about doing a cold frame like this in the winter, especially certain parts of the country, it can drop down into the high teens or, into the low 20s at night. And then in the daytime when the sun comes up, it might get into the 50s or 60s. So you have a big temperature swing. So you'll have to open this cover up or take it off, on a warm winter day. If not, the heat will just build up in here, and not including worrying about the moisture problem, and it'll just smoke them plants and just kill them. So if you're building a cover, you can build them out of PVC. You can use treated 2x2s, whatever you got around the house, or you can go to the store and buy it, whichever you prefer. But you got to monitor your temperatures. So that's the only drawback to the cold frames, is if it's going to get warm in the day, you have to take the covers off or crack them at an angle and ventilate them. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about doing cold frames, that you got to pay attention to it in the winter. But, it's worth it to have fresh greens, and, you could do lettuce, spinach, kale, all kind of different stuff in the winter under a cold frame like this. Just pay attention to your weather. And if it's not going to be, but in the high 30s, low 40s, you don't have to worry about it. But if it's getting near freezing or frost conditions, you can cover your stuff up. But if you're going to make one, just make it where it's lightweight, so you can just lift it off by yourself, and just take it off or move it without damaging the crops underneath the bed. Well, you might ask yourself, why in the world are you filming a dirt bank when you're talking about cold frames? Well, this, folks, is going to be the site of the future greenhouse. It goes up the hill right here with the slope. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take the tractor, I'm going to cut back into this bank about 4 feet and build a retaining wall with a course of block, and then go a couple of courses above the wall farther inside the greenhouse. So this all be graded out. It'll be 8x6 greenhouse. as time and budget allows, we'll work on this and I will film it as I build it. So we have limited flat ground, so instead of grading off bigger spots of the property or cutting down trees and stuff, I got a nice open spot here with southern exposure. I get plenty of light right here in the winter time. So cutting into the bank does two things: that takes up less of my flat room that I have already graded out, and it's going to be sitting against this bank, and there's all that thermal mass, especially with it partially buried and on the uphill side. Well, that heat will stay in there, you know, most of the night, so I won't have to heat it. I've got a spare wood stove and stuff I could put in there. I could put water barrels in it for thermal mass. But that's the name of the game with greenhouses, is thermal mass. Especially if it's going to get really cold, you need the mass in there to keep the temperatures in the greenhouse from dropping. So this will be a greenhouse, you know, part earthen greenhouse in here. Gravel floor, everything, floor drain. You know, I don't know if I'm gonna go polycarbonate yet or glass. So it's still in the works, but this is where it's gonna be. So a greenhouse would be the ultimate wintertime crop producing item to have on your property, but it's gonna be the budget buster. It's gonna be expensive to do it, especially the way I've got to do it, because I'm gonna have to grade, block, concrete, all that fun stuff. So, you know, greenhouses are nice, but you know, you're gonna have a lot more cost with a greenhouse too, compared to a cold frame or growing it in your windowsill or stuff like that. Another option is a pre-made or pre-built greenhouse you can buy from a store. You can buy it from Amazon, Lowe's, Walmart, Home Depot, places like that. You can get similar little kits like this at those places. Some of them are plastic, like this one in the picture. Some of them are polycarbonate, some of them are glass, depending on, you know, the manufacturer and the kit. So you can look at some of these online. I'll put a couple of links in the description so you can do your research and just check out some reviews if that's something you might like. To buy one that's pre-made, you can just assemble and put in your little garden or patio, or even if you've got another little raised bed or something, you can put the pre-made ones on there and save you some time and having to, you know, scour for materials or, you know, get stuff together. You can get it in one little package and be a little easier. So, you know, that's another little option for you folks out there. And another option is if you have some old windows laying around, you can take the window and then you'd build the box to match the window and put the window on a hinge, so you could raise and lower the window for your cold frame. This will do the same thing, probably better than the plastic because the glass is a little thicker. But one caveat with using old windows or spare windows is you can't use the double pane or triple pane glass. It can't be low E coating because that cuts the UV rays down going into the box. So you need cheap single pane windows, or like old plate glass windows from the 60s or 70s. You can find those on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, you know, local classifieds, at flea markets, stuff like that. You know, these are the little shed windows. Just, you know, I've kept laying around, so I'll probably build a box out of these. So stay tuned for that in a future video. But these are just single pane, cheap shed windows from Lowe's. You know, these were, I forgot where I got these from as far as what the original intent was. They just kind of collected over the years. But I'm gonna build a little box. This window will sit on. This is a J-trim window for vinyl. So I'll just build the box so this window will close right down and the J-trim will hold the window on the box. So there's all kinds of options for you to keep your microgreens, your lettuce, spinach and stuff going through the winter time. So just keep an open mind, and you know, you can go budget, you know, using repurposed materials. You can get store-bought stuff. It's your choice ultimately. And you know, the name of the game is as little money as possible into your food. I mean, if you're going to spend a lot of money, you might as well just buy it from the store. So my theory is on it, just keep it as cheap as possible, get the most food for the littlest amount of money and effort into it, you know. So just simple ideas to extend your harvest times in the winter. And if you do it right, you can be flush with greens all winter long. So thanks for watching the Off Grid Mountain Homestead. Be sure to like it, subscribe, comment,